So obviously, Game 5 of the NBA Finals happened on Monday. The Warriors took the 3-2 lead. Gio's prediction of the Warriors in six is looking more and more likely. What do you guys have to say about that game and just the series in general so far?
That game was, I wouldn't, as much as the Warriors won by, the game was close in my eyes.
Yeah, it was closer than it was at the end.
Like, Boston kind of blew up on themselves in that fourth quarter, I would say. Because I think it
Yeah,
was it early fourth or was it third when Boston took that 1 point lead?
I think it was the early fourth.
Yeah, so the game was close up until that point. Then the Warriors just took it out.
Right. Because like the Warriors are a great third quarter team, but like the Celtics actually stuck with them in the third and
Yeah,
won the third actually. So
played very well in that third quarter.
it's just that I knew Steph wasn't going to let them go down 3-2 at home. And Andrew Wiggins was a huge part of that win.
Andrew Wiggins is as much as Steph has been hooping, Finals MVP might have to go to my boy Wiggs.
Honestly, I could see it happening, but I feel like it still should go to Steph though, because I feel like Steph put team on his back games 1 through 4, and he just had a bad game 5.
Right now, I have Steph winning it right now, but at the same time, it's not like it's distinctively Stephen Curry's Finals MVP.
No, it's never distinctly Steph's because history shows.
I think Wiggins is very, very close to Finals MVP as well, just based off of his defense on Tatum, and he's been scoring the ball a little bit.
I agree, and he's been rebounding like crazy.
Yeah, he's got a couple double doubles in this Finals, right?
I think he got like 2 or 3.
Yeah, bro's been hooping.
It's not even the offense though that surprised me. It's the defense. Like he's shutting down Tatum. Tatum had one good game.
Bro, I saw this stat where it was Tatum had 55 possessions on Wiggins or something,
Hmm.
and he shot 1 for 15 or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think Andrew Wiggins took Tatum's tweet like a long but way back. Personally, the Jabari Parker tweet where he said
Yeah,
Jabari's better than Andrew Wiggins. I don't think Wiggins ever forgot that.
bro, my boy's showing why he is where he is.
Exactly. Like he's not what he's supposed to be for a number 1 pick, I would say, but he's not a bust.
Nah,
But what do you got to say, Gio?
Well, first off, talking about Andrew Wiggins, let's be honest. He had no initiative in Minnesota. We saw he had initiative when he was in Kentucky, looking to be drafted. No, Kansas, my bad. He was Kansas boy. Yeah, so Kansas. So he was in Kansas, had initiative there, wanted to be drafted. Obviously, was the first pick in the NBA draft. What was it, 2014?
Something like
15?
that. I know it's to the Cavs. That's all I know. I think it was 15.
I think it was 15 too, because that was the first year LeBron was with the Cavs. So anyways, few years there. Obviously, if you're in Minnesota, if you're in one of these low tier teams, you're gonna have no initiative to go ahead and win a championship because you're gonna be at the bottom of the barrel anyways. So he goes to a contender. Last year, obviously, was a turning point in his career. He started making moves. He started, performing well, especially with the mentorship of Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. Then this year, he becomes an all-star. And right now, to me, he's the most effective player on the Warriors team. I know Steph is averaging 35 points, something like that, crazy percentages, all that stuff. But Steph Curry's known to do this, right? We haven't seen Andrew Wiggins do what he's doing right now ever in his career at this consistent of a rate. Games 1 through 4, you said he hasn't been really, there. Although he was great Monday with 27 points, 14, 15 rebounds or something like that.
I think it was like 26 and 17.
17 rebounds, highest in his career ever. Then the previous game 4 in Boston, Andrew Wiggins had 16 rebounds, 17 points. Although they won that game as well. So another double-double. Now Wednesday, game 3. Going back another game. He scored 18 points, 7 rebounds. So it's not like he hasn't been, being productive for a team. It's not like a 30, 15, something like that. Nothing like too crazy as like a generational type player. But he has been scoring, he has been rebounding, doing the things he's supposed to be doing. Game 1, I would agree, was possibly his worst game, where he only had 11 points and 6 rebounds.
I would just say that was just the finals jitters. Game 1, first game of ever his finals.
So now he's there, right? And he's adjusted. And I feel like like Nick is saying, he could be finals MVP because he's such a game changer. And he's guarding Jason Tatum, don't forget, where Jason hasn't been, a prolific scorer against him. And we've seen him dominate in the Eastern Conference. I'm sorry about this, Nick, but he dominated against the Miami Heat, as we saw with their phenomenal defense they do play. He still dominated and still got his numbers. Going against Milwaukee and the defensive team they are with Udonis, still got his numbers there and won game 7s, all game 7s. He's been, performing, amazing. And then in the first round, going against the Nets, right? And Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving guarded Kevin Durant and still scored like a prolific score. So now you're in the finals and he's not scoring like this. It has to give credit to, Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, before I had like 75% Steph, 25% Wiggins, but right now, honestly, it's 50-50. I could see it going either way.
I would say if Steph goes off like he's supposed to, right? Because he went 0 for 9, which hasn't happened in the postseason, I believe, from 3-point land. Next game, he's guaranteed a great game. Well, not guaranteed, but the percentages show that he's going to have a great game next game, game 6. And it's a closeout game as well. And, so you can see Steph winning it, but you can also see Andrew Wiggins winning it, especially if he, ends up winning the game on the defensive end like Andre Iguodala did.
Right. I wouldn't be mad if Wiggins won it, honestly, because they both deserve it.
Right. And here's the thing. It wasn't like in 2015, Andre Iguodala won it on his offensive end. It was more on the defensive end on defending LeBron James. Although LeBron was scoring the points he was doing, against the Cavs, on the Cavs, right? It wasn't like crazy numbers. He was just, slowing him down. And obviously we can see that Andrew Wiggins is slowing Jason Tatum down.
I agree. You got something to say, Saya?
I thought Gio came with some great points on the Andrew Wiggins finals MVP. Right now, I would say it's more 55-45 Stephen Curry's favor. But if Stephen Curry has another like low point game like that, I feel like it's going to sway towards Andrew Wiggins for myself.
I agree.
But at the same time, I don't see the Warriors winning the finals.
You do not see them winning the finals?
No.
I don't see them closing it out in game 6. I see them closing it out in 7.
So going back to the whole entire team aspect of it, who you think is going to win the series? Nick believes that the Celtics are going to win. Am I correct in 7? And and Jake believes that the Warriors are going to win in 7. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I, of course, believe that the Warriors are going to win 6. But what are your takes and why do you believe what you believe?
Say, you can go first.
So with that previous game, I saw a very good playing basketball, good team with the Golden State Warriors, even with Curry lacking. But at the same time, Jason Tatum did have a decent night last Monday. And I feel like he's starting to figure out how to score, which I think will become problematic for the Warriors. And I also believe they're not getting enough production from Clay and Draymond as well. And I also believe now that the Celtics' backs are against the wall, they're going to come even harder and they're going to play even better. And I don't see the Warriors out hustling them or out physicality them, like out physical them either.
That's all fair. But I mean, you could say Clay hasn't been good, but he wasn't good in the Memphis series, and then Game 6, what came around at Game 6, Clay. So it's history shows that if they do close out in Game 6, it will be because of Clay. But I don't see him closing out in 6. I still got him in 7, and the reason is I just feel like the Warriors are just so experienced in the finals compared to the Celtics. Even in like 7-game series, yeah, they've blown 3-1 leads and stuff, but like I just don't see them blowing this personally because I think the experience will overcome the inexperience of the Celtics.
I could see that, but I don't see the Warriors' hunger as
I
well
think
as I see it in the Celtics.
the Celtics are very hungry, yeah, but I think the Warriors just don't show it, but they're hungry.
Ah, I don't know. I got Celtics in 7.
And I think Steph alone is hungry enough to win it for the whole team.
That's fair. You can tell Steph Curry's hungry for it.
Like, bro, what he did in games 1 through 4, it was bound he was going to have a bad game.
Just one aspect that I see lacking heavily for the Warriors is their defensive juggernaut, Draymond Green.
Yeah, that's the one thing I need more out of for him. Like,
He's
like
barely able to stay on the court.
it's
even on
not
his
asking
own.
you to score 20. Like, score like 10 to 15.
I don't even want that. Like, if I was just cheering for the Warriors, I wouldn't even want Draymond scoring like more than 10. But I want Draymond to be able to stay on the floor
Right.
without foul trouble, without doing some dumb boneheaded stuff like following Jason Tatum trying to knock the ball out or something.
Right. Like,
Like I want Draymond to stay cool headed and play his type of basketball, play really defensively, be that anchor defensively.
yeah, I think the last game they all played very well outside of Draymond though, so I think that'll carry over into game 6 and 7 if there is a game 7.
I see the Celtics coming out hungry.
But I do need more from Draymond. He needs to be a lot smarter.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, because like even if he's not on the floor, yeah, Andrew Wiggins is a great defender, but like him on the floor, they're just such a better team because he doesn't just play defense; he's a great ball distributor as well.
Yeah, honestly too. His playmaking time in there, even when we saw it in previous games where he would just clear the way for Steph and Curry, I didn't really see that last game at all.
No, he's like passing it ahead and like way too far, turning it over. It's not the Draymond we're used to. I think he's in his own head, to be honest with you.
He might be, honestly, though, because after what his mom said,
Yeah, bro. If your
she's not
mom says something, you're playing bad.
she's not wrong either. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. I just think he has to get his own out of his own head and just play his game.
facts.
But you got something to say, Gio?
Yeah, so I agree with both of your guys' points. Draymond Green has to play better, but at the same time, he did play better, I do believe, in Game 5, where he did score 8 points. I don't know what he did at the free throw line, but I think it was all right. I think what did he do? Like, didn't he score like 4 points on the free
He
throw
did
line?
foul out though. That's our point. Like,
He did foul out, but at the same time, you're getting 35 quality minutes, whereas you don't need him on the floor. You can see that Gary Payton can take his spot defensively and close out a game. You got Klay Thompson, who has been increasingly gotten better defensively throughout the series. I feel like Steph Curry, for some reason, he's become like a defensive threat. He's been able to close out defensively. Has quick hands now, and he's able to he has a better step than the offense on when he's on the defensive side. But Draymond Green guarded Jaylen Brown. He only had 18 points. He went 5 for 18 and 0 for 5 from 3-point. So Draymond Green is technically doing his job, where we know Jaylen Brown can get to his shooting hand, and he's able to score in bunches. So for him, 18 points is not that much. And for Nick's point, the Celtics do seem to be hungrier. As we can see, 3 out of the 4 major stat lines, they have They have dominated. Where in rebounds, usually rebounding and turnovers, allow you to win the games. Rebounding, Boston had 47 and Golden State had 39, where they dominated at least eight more rebounds than Golden State, where you would think why Boston would have won that game is because they're rebounding, right? Again, 3-point percentage, 34.4% to 22.5%. They're Boston's beating Golden State on. And then obviously total turnovers, 18, which really hurt them, which could be the main factor of why they lost that game. And Golden State only had 7. But now let's look back at game 1 where they did end up winning in Golden State. So you had Boston again win on the 3-point percentage. They tied in rebounding at 39 apiece. Golden State had 1 more turnover. But here's the thing. Boston's field goal percentage was higher than Golden State's, where in game 5, Golden State's field goal percentage was higher. And that's the key reason of why I feel like Boston won that game 1 and stole that game. Personally, I think the series should have gone 5 games. I think it should be over right now because I think Golden State really took them lightly as Boston, and it wasn't like the Miami Heat that they were probably expecting. So they took them a little lighter, and they thought they were going to cruise through this game, cruise through the series, and especially game 1. I feel like Boston, like Nick said, was more hungrier in that game. So we'll see in game 6 that, especially, game 6 Clay, the percentage shows that game 6 Clay is going to show out, especially when you have Steph Curry, who went 0 for 9, right, from 3-point in the playoffs. Never happens. I think first time since 2018 or so, something like that, where he's missed or hasn't made a 3-pointer in a game. So he's guaranteed to, put up numbers, or the percentage shows that, Steph's going to put up numbers. Percentage shows that Clay's going to put up numbers. If Gary Payton comes out the way he did and the aggressiveness and the willingness to play hard on defense, and then you also have Jordan Poole. If Jordan Poole makes smart offensive plays like he did the last game, where he didn't try to get into his shot so quickly, where he, allowed plays to happen and plays to run so that he can create his own shot, and that, he took his time within the shot clock instead of doing everything himself. I feel like if all these players do what they're supposed to do and Kayvon Looney comes out trying to, hustle, then I think Golden State is going to take game 6. But then again, we have seen if Boston, has the lower turnover percentage, dominates on the rebounding aspect, and then has a higher field goal percentage, they're going to win this game.
And not to mention, the Celtics haven't lost a game after losing yet in the playoffs.
They haven't lost
They
two
lost.
games in a row in the finals since, I believe, 85. So
Didn't it just happen though?
2 games
they
in the
do-
finals?
Did they
That
just
Monday
lose?
loss?
Or no, I'm sorry, 2 games back to back in their home arena. Sorry.
Oh, my
Okay,
bad.
In Boston.
I mean, it's still a great record after losses. They
Right.
typically win after losses.
Right.
I
But then
think
again,
sorry.
sorry, they haven't lost 2 games in a row in Boston in the finals since 1985. So
This was their first time losing back-to-back games, all playoffs.
correct.
Yeah,
Like, they've been playing crazy.
for real. I mean, I would like to talk about Tatum's defense, though. Like, we've been talking about his offense, but he hasn't been the defender that we saw in rounds 1 through
Right.
3 at all.
No, that's a great point, though.
Because, like, if you're letting Andrew Wiggins score 18 to 20 and you shut down Giannis and Kevin Durant, that doesn't make sense. Well, he didn't really shut down Giannis, but he shut down the other guys on the Bucks.
Yeah. Bro,
I think it's
that's
because
something.
I think it's because of his offense, to be honest. Like, I think, like, since his offense's game isn't flowing, like, he's just not flowing, like, defensively either.
I think he's getting more tired offensively than he was, even though he's not putting up the numbers.
That's true, because he has to work more.
Yeah, he's working way more this series to try to get open and, like, get his shots available. But even with him putting in all that effort, it's still not working.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that, but like, still, if they want to win the finals, he's gonna have to play a lot better defense.
Fact so.
What do you guys say,
I,
Gio? Oh, go ahead, Saya.
I could see him turning it up these last 2 games, though.
Honestly, same because like Gio said, and you said it as well. Like him in Game Sevens, bro, it's insane.
Different.
But as you know firsthand,
Yeah, unfortunately.
you got anything to add, Gio?
Yeah, so I agree with both of you guys again. I feel like Robert Williams, Jalen Brown, obviously he's been doing his thing, but Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, Al Horford have to step up. And the reason why I say Marcus Smart is because Draymond's gotten into his head, I feel like. Yes, offensively, he's been hitting some crazy shots, right? But defensively, he's been flopping, as we saw against Klay Thompson in the fourth quarter. He's been trying to do too much defensively where he's trying to pull the Draymond effect, where if he does the things that he believes in, then he's going to get the calls his way. But here's the thing with Draymond. Draymond's usually correct, I feel like, because he understands the rules so technically, in a technicality, that he can play the officials to his benefit because he knows the rules to the book, to the T, right?
Jordan Poole, too.
I'm sorry?
Jordan Poole, too.
Right, but here's the thing with that. That's the same thing as Marcus Smart, right? He
That was a
flopped.
bad flop.
That was a bad flop, right? But at
Great
the
call.
same time, Jordan Poole got the call and Marcus Smart didn't. Was there a little home cooking there? It's for you guys to decide.
Possibly.
But
Sorry.
I was going to say, if you're in Boston, Marcus Smart's going to get that charge.
Yeah.
But Al Horford's got to step up like he did in game one. A couple of these, role players have to step up. I feel like Jason Tatum, he's doing his thing. Although he didn't score that well, he had 27 points, right? Defensively, he needs to, step it up. Just like you said, Jake, I feel like since he's having troubles on the offensive end, his defense isn't really approaching. But once he starts scoring, then he's going to be pumped up. He's going to try to, make some plays on the defensive end like he has been in the previous rounds. And we'll see from there. But like you said, the percentage shows Jason Tatum's going to go out swinging in these last 2 games if there is a game 7.
Yeah, it's true.
Bro, the referees were wild that last game, though.
I would say the same for game 4 too, though. Like they haven't been very consistent the entire series, to be honest.
But like I was watching that game, it felt like the first quarter and like the kind of the second quarter, they were just letting them play.
Mhm.
Like I feel like there was a lot of missed calls and they were just letting them run. But by the end of that game, I feel like they were calling everything almost.
Right.
Yeah, it
I
got.
would agree.
I mean, I feel like it was also because it got a little chippy at the end.
Yeah, I can see that actually. Yeah,
But like they still need to be more consistent.
honestly, I thought we were gonna get like a good game, like a good little physical game of like real basketball. Then the flopping came out. Just bad.
Well, we did have a great game all the way up until Jordan Poole hit that buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter to put them up by 1. Where
That was crazy.
Boston
That's the second
had
one
all
in the finals,
momentum
too.
until that shot.
Yeah,
Like that's the second one in the finals that has been a
Right.
game changer for the Warriors as well.
Exactly.
that was like 3/4 half court too. Like, bro,
It's
Timing
insane.
was perfect where he didn't just shoot. He got to his shot the way he wanted to.
Right.
And that's how he's going to be effective in the series.
Yeah, that's very true.
honestly. But Jason Tatum could be a Hall of Famer one day.
I mean, as of right now, he will be eventually.
He could be one day.
If I would have to agree with you, just because Paul Pierce is a Hall of Famer, and if Paul Pierce is a Hall of Famer, then Jason Tatum's obviously got to be a Hall of Famer. Because
100%.
I would say they're pretty much the same type of player, style-wise. Great, prolific scorer, right? Defense, I feel like Jason Tatum's got him a little bit on defense. But the accolades obviously goes to Paul Pierce. But I feel like at the end of Jason Tatum's career, he's at least going to have 1 ring, possibly. And he's going to have just enough accolades to get into the Hall of Fame like Paul Pierce did.
Someone else who should be in the Hall of Fame, Udonis Haslem.
Yes, sir.
You guys think he actually should be in the Hall of Fame, Gio? I'll let you go first.
So here's my thought. I agree with Russo, right?
Mhm.
Max Dog Russo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with
Well,
him that they're just giving out handouts right now for the Hall of Fame. Although I love UD, they are trying to put everyone in there. And if there's a spot for amazing like loyalty, an amazing veteran and like leadership, it goes to Udonis Haslem. There's not a better leader in the NBA other than Udonis Haslem, in my opinion.
that's fair.
And
Go.
for it to be a Heat legend like UD is, he's just gonna be like Kendrick Perkins for the Celtics. I don't know if Kendrick's gonna go to the Hall of Fame, but if Kendrick goes, so should UD because they're both great players, and the fact that they stood for what they stood for in that organization.
I mean, for me personally, I don't really think Haslam should be a Hall of Famer, but those points are very true. They are just handing out Hall of Fame
Right.
now. So, I mean, I could see it, but I just don't like he did do a lot for them in the past years when there was the big three era.
Right.
Like, he did a lot for them then. So, like, you can make a case for it in those years. But I
But
feel like the
really,
past couple years, I feel like I can't make a case for him now.
Udonis Haslem should be in the Hall of Fame. All right. My boy, through his career, averaged 7.5 points. And with that, he averaged 2.5 points last year, 4 points the year before, 3 points the year before that in 2019, 2020, 2.5 points in 2018, 2019, and 0.6 in 2017, 2018. So the question is, just because he got old and he got out of the rotation, should that diminish his Hall of Fame ballot? Like odds.
That's fair. But I mean, 7.5 points on the career. I mean, that's not that great.
Can I?
What? Gio, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Would you say Draymond's a Hall of Famer though?
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's
but
why.
His career averages aren't 8+.
They're
Well,
not
like-
A+.
But he does more than Udonis Haslem did for the Heat, though, I feel like.
Right.
I don't know about that one.
Because he distributes the ball. He's literally a point guard in a power forward's body.
One of the best IQ-minded players we've ever had. And the fact that he's possibly one of the best defenders we have ever seen in NBA history.
I agree.
That's the only point why I would have him in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, the only reason I didn't bring up defense, though, is because UD is the one thing he does great when he played was defense.
Right. But at the same time, you're not saying UD was second to none against Rodman. You're
True.
saying that against, him, the Glove, and Draymond Green are the three top best defenders in the league history, we're saying, pretty much.
It's fair.
So
I'd say it.
that's in his defense.
With that, Udonis Haslem has 3 championships, playing key roles on 3 different championship teams.
But was it as necessary as Draymond? Because we've seen what the Warriors are without Draymond this year.
But we've also seen Miami with a prime Udonis Haslem.
But I feel like
prime.
I feel like they still could have won without UD, if I'm being honest.
Right. Just
Which one?
not the first one. The first
Not
one
the
they
first
needed
one.
UD
The
at
first two. Oh, the last two, I mean.
But with that first one, Dwayne Wade's first championship, Dwayne Wade was a massive factor.
Right.
But people sleep on Shaq and UD because both of them also had phenomenal seasons.
Exactly.
And impacts.
Well, don't forget about Alonzo Mourning.
Alonzo Mourning too, yeah.
Don't forget about, you had also the Glove, right?
Yep.
Late in his career. You had Jason Williams, White Chocolate.
Yes, sir.
So it's not like you didn't have amazing players other than UD, Shaq, and D Wade. It's the fact that he played a key role in that one championship, right? And like you said, key role in the other 2 championships. And that's why he would be considered a Hall of Famer. The loyalty to that singular franchise and being a leader and accepting his role throughout his entire career.
And that's why I
Those
could
are-
see it. That's why I could see him making the Hall of Fame is just because of his loyalty and leadership.
One thing I
Exactly.
also sorry.
Go ahead.
Another thing is so that UD was such a team player.
Right.
Like back in the Heatles days, that Big Three era, Udonis Haslem took a massive pay cut to stay with
for
the
sure.
team and play that role.
Plus, if you have possibly the third best shooting guard of all time, second best player of all time, at that then and there you had the best shooter of all time in Ray Allen, right? So you have all these amazing players, Mike Miller, right? Someone has to have a percentage cut down, right? And the fact is, UD stepped his role up, right? He was a man. And he said, I will be that person that has less of a role on the team. Yet my leadership and my loyalty will stay true. And this is why he was a huge component of why they won those 2 championships. And LeBron gives him a lot of credit for that.
With that, though, I would say his production didn't go down as much as it refocused, I would say.
Right.
And you could also say like the past couple years, even though they didn't win the championships, like him in the playoffs, I don't think they would have got as far without him on the bench.
Right.
He's
Exactly.
coaching up the team. Like,
Right. Because he was there. He's seen it all. So
So I
he was
mean,
part of the best team in NBA history.
one of the best. We'll go with
The
that.
best.
One of the best. Go ahead, Gio.
But to state your point of why he wasn't going because of the less productivity, I would say Kobe Bryant later in his career, his shooting percentage, everything went down. Dirk Nowitzki, right? All these guys are great Hall of Famers. Dirk only won 1 championship, one of the best players to ever do it. His productivity went, down a lot, especially later in his career. So I feel like all these Hall of Famers that have had this happen to them, they are still able to go into the Hall of Fame, even though their numbers went down. It's the fact that UD's numbers were so low to begin with, and that's the only fact of why he might not make it to the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Whoa. Prime Udonis Haslem scored 12 points a game.
That's nothing in the NBA, though.
But still, with Kobe Bryant, if he retired like Dwayne Wade did, right, where he still had some athleticism, where he wasn't getting hurt every single season, his percentage wouldn't have gone down as far as it did. And he was still averaging, 25 points in his career, something like that, 27, something like that, where his points production went down significantly in those last 3 years. And I feel like if he did retire 3 years prior, his numbers would, be skyrocketing, and you wouldn't have anything bad to say, especially with, those last 3.
Gio's just a cliffhanger for all of us, but we're back. He was saying how, Kobe's productivity would have been great. Keep going, Gio.
So I feel like if he did retire 3 years prior to all his injuries, in the end of his career, he could have still had, one of those great runs, right, possibly into the playoffs. Although his last season was a great story and it was a great ending to one of the best players in NBA history. If he did end prior to that, his numbers would have been better throughout for his career statistics. And that's the only reason why I feel like his numbers went down were because of those last 3 years.
That's fair. Greatest retirement game ever. That's all I'm going to say. Mama forever.
But I'm not trying to compare Udonis Haslem to Kobe with that. But, there's some players in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Right now, that Udonis Haslem is just better.
I would agree.
Could you name a few? Do you have any examples?
So, Sidney Moncrief.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
He played in the league for a little bit, but he didn't have the longevity or the accolades that Udonis Haslem has.
Correct.
I would also say, I was looking at someone earlier.
But that's also where what we're saying. They're handing out Hall of Fame, so that bodes well for UD if he for his chances of making the Hall of Fame.
And for me, right, players in certain generations that got say whatever they did in their generation are getting put into the Hall of Fame, even though say this 60s through 80s, right? A lot of these players in the Hall of Fame couldn't go up against UD now, and they're in the Hall of Fame now. So it's hard to manage of who goes into the Hall of Fame and who doesn't because of the generations.
That's true.
UD could obviously dominate, I feel like, that generation just because of who he is and how dominant he would have been as an athlete.
I agree. Like we always talk about who could have thrived in those type of generations of physicality. Right. Udonis Haslem is one of those people.
Exactly.
Someone like
go ahead.
So I was looking at Vlade Divac.
Okay, yeah.
Him compared to Udonis Haslem, they both put up similar numbers in their careers. But significance-wise, Udonis Haslem's career has been way more significant in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. Because, like, I don't think UD was near as high as a pick as Divac was either.
No.
Like, Divac was supposed to be a star. And I mean, like, superstar. He was not that. He was an average role player at best.
Yeah. And Udonis Haslem, he played the starter role. But at the same time, he was never the guy.
Right.
So he never really had the opportunity to
show what he could showcase. Yeah.
Yeah. He had to sit back seat to Dwayne Wade.
LeBron.
Shaq played in Miami. LeBron.
Mourning Alonzo.
Yeah, he never really got his opportunity, but at the same time, he still somehow showed his value.
Yeah, he still contributed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely an argument for him, but there's also arguments against him, if we're being honest.
Very true.
So, for me, that's a great, person or player to compare him to is because Vlade does have similar numbers. The only thing with me is Vlade did play for the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, which just like Udonis, I feel like his numbers would have been higher if he was on a different scenario in the prime of his career. He also then went to Sacramento Kings, where he is still, I would say, the face of the Sacramento Kings. Whenever you think of the Kings, you think of Vlade Divac and you think of Jason Williams.
That's
De'Aaron Fox.
And now De'Aaron Fox, right? For this generation. But really, Jason Williams and Vlade Divac really are the faces of that franchise for generations to come. And for me, I feel like that's why he was put into the Hall of Fame was because of who he was. Also, being one of those European players and transitioning the game, I feel like, through the passing ability, I feel like that's why he was also put into the Hall of Fame, because of the way he played the game. Not just because of his numbers, but just the way and the style he played, his game. So
that's fair.
Someone who played his own game was Udonis Haslem as well.
That's right.
But y'all compared him to Kobe.
I was just
sharing another player that's in the Hall of Fame that his numbers decreased over time.
Fair.
Because you said that Udonis might not make it because his numbers decrease. It's the fact that he could still make it even though his numbers decreased, just like Kobe and just like Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's arguments for him and there's arguments against him. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
That's right.
He has to retire first. Well, that's the first thing. But staying on the topic of bigs, obviously there was a Woj bomb about a couple hours ago. Christian Wood to the Dallas Mavericks for the 26th pick in the draft. Boban, Trey Burke, Marquise Chris, and Sterling Brown. What are your guys' thoughts on that trade?
Gio, you want to go first? You want to go second?
I can go first this time.
Right.
And then see if you agree with me or not. Personally, I feel like the Mavs won on this trade. They're trying to get a championship as soon as possible. Rockets I don't really feel like they have the initiative to win a championship right now. Marquise is a great player. So is Trey Burke. He's all right.
Boban's not bad either.
They don't need Trey Burke,
I mean, Boban's not that bad either. I'm just gonna say that.
Boban's not a bad player. It's the fact that, just like the Udonis Haslem, Boban is a great veteran who brings up morale on a team, who knows how to have a team win just being on the bench, right? That's why Boban is who he is. He's a great person. So he's a great person to have on your bench. I feel like this is bad for Luka. Luka loved Boban. Especially in the fact to keep him there. I feel like you would want someone like Boban who kind of has the same lifestyle as Luka Doncic, coming from the same area of Europe, right? I feel like they had a lot of similarities and that they were having fun on the court as well, in practice time. But especially with Christian Wood, the Mavs won on that trade because Christian Wood is such a great player. He's increasing in his productivity every single year when healthy. He's putting up kind of all-star numbers before he got hurt. And I feel like with Luka Magic, anything can happen.
I'm just gonna say I think the Rockets did this trade just for the 26th pick because they already have a guaranteed top 5 pick, so
Right.
they just wanted another pick. That's why I think they did that.
But how important is that 26th pick? Who are you going to get that is going to change that franchise? Because Christian Wood is such a great player, I don't think you're going to get the same productivity from that 26th pick.
Well, that's the question though, because you can develop the player into a Christian Wood if it's a big. But they're just rebuilding, so they just want young players at this point.
At the same time, who do you have in this draft that could be like that? Who can you develop that's going to bring out that productivity in this draft specifically? Why not try to get a later pick in a later draft?
Well, that's not the question though for us. That's the question for the scout. And if their scout does their job right, then we'll be proven wrong.
Exactly.
I also agree that the Mavericks won this trade. But at the same time, what you were saying about that 26th pick, something was running through my mind.
There's hidden gems in the late first round in this draft.
For sure. I'm just saying in this year, though, this draft class.
I'm saying in this draft there is. This is a deep draft.
At the same time, who saw Nikola Jokic turning into the player he is?
That's true.
Who saw Draymond Green turning into the player he is?
Anyone on the Heat.
So that's why you have to just take these chances because you could develop these players into a star.
It is a great chance, but at the same time, I would have tried to got a pick in a later draft class just because all the bigs are going to go first, like Jet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, right?
Well, those guys, they still have a chance at those guys, though, because they have a top 3 pick, I believe.
But then who are you going to get? You have guards.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think they got the 26th pick because they already know they're going to be in the top 5 for years to come. So there's no point in getting another top 5 pick if they're already going to have a top 5 pick.
Gotcha.
That's my thought process.
With the trade as well, though, I don't see the value of I don't understand bringing in the veterans that they brought in.
Yeah, no. If they're rebuilding, I don't understand that.
And then also the vision of getting a ton of young players on one team and seeing what you have has not panned out well so far from what we've seen from OKC.
Yeah.
So I don't understand going with that route either.
Because you could have got so much more for Christian Wood.
But
that's why I got the Mavs winning this trade because they got Christian Wood for basically the 26th pick because those role players didn't do anything on their team.
Except for Boban, who was a great leader on the bench and was a connecting piece to Luka Doncic.
Yes, but I think they can survive without Boban, personally.
They can survive. It's the fact that how happy is Luka going to be? I feel like a lot of happiness and calmness from Luka Doncic came from having Boban on the team, personally.
I think he loves Dallas either way. That's just me, though.
I'm going to miss it, too. Boban,
I am going to miss Boban and Luka, but I wish if Boban had to get traded, why not Boban and Toby again?
Right.
Yeah, right.
But, the Mavs easily won this trade. Personally, that's what I think.
Christian Wood's such an underrated center, I would say, too. Still.
He's a great center.
Yeah, I saw comments on Instagram where they're comparing him to Kristaps because he's not a great defensive center, but he's a better defender than Christian Wood, and he's a better fit than Kristaps too with Luka.
Well, yeah, you see interior defense. He's a great blocker.
Right.
So,
and they're not going to make him the Mavericks aren't going to make him switch on to guards. They know that he can't do that.
And I think he's underrated in the way he rebounds and scores as well, too.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel
like Gio said, he was averaging 25 and 15 or something like that before he got hurt.
All-star numbers. So,
I think it's a great pickup by Dallas. I don't see it pushing them over the hump right now.
I don't either.
But it's a good start.
I mean, they did make the Western Conference Finals without him, so I mean, they could get back there. I could see, but I don't know about finals yet.
So, oh, go ahead, finish that.
I don't see them going to the Western Conference Finals again, though.
Yeah, I don't see it, but I mean, I could. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't see it happening because the West is just going to be so much stronger next year,
Paul
and
George, Kawhi coming back.
the Lakers and Clippers, they're all going to be so hungry.
Yep.
But go ahead, Gio.
For me, I'm never gonna count, the Clippers
Okay,
until
that's
they
fair.
do something.
That's fair.
Ever. They haven't done anything in any generation ever.
I mean, but they're still going to make the playoffs. I could see them making the playoffs.
I guarantee you they don't make it past the second round.
Yeah, I don't see them.
Guarantee it.
That's fair.
But Dallas could run into them in the first round, which would be worrisome.
Right,
Right.
which is worrisome. Here's the thing: Luka by himself brought it to a game 7 both times. For me, what was the piece that they were missing this year? Everyone was saying it was a big man, right? The big man they had was Maxi Kleber.
Cleveland, yeah.
Really, he's a great, bench player, great 6-man, but he's not gonna be the Christian Wood you need. Also, you have Timmy Hardaway Jr. coming back. Hopefully he's back healthy and ready to play. You have great, players, great guards as well. Forwards, everything's running. All you needed was that center. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it gels.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Maxi Kleber, I mean, you did say he's a great bench player, but like he was a big reason why they got to the Western Conference Finals, I think.
He was, but at the same time, they were still looking for that dominant center
Yeah, that's true.
because he's a great 3-and-D type of guy, right?
And the thing where like that's going to be better than Kristaps was like he's aggressive. Christian Wood's not going to chuck up 3-pointers if he's not
Right.
like if he knows he can't make it.
Exactly.
I don't see him just sitting in the corner either, like Kristaps did. So
No, he's going to be in the paint most of the time.
He's gonna lots of pick and rolls. I see lots of pick and rolls between him and Luka.
Yeah, but did you guys see the asking price for the Jazz for Rudy Gobert?
no,
No,
what
go
was
ahead.
it?
They're asking for a superstar player, a couple role players, and a couple of picks. And like a GM in the West said that the price for Rudy is astronomical.
Wait, they want all of those in one trade
Yeah, for Rudy.
just for Rudy Gobert.
I mean, that's what they're asking for Rudy. Yeah.
They are high or something, bro.
It's like, bro, Rudy is, yeah, he's a great defender, but like he's such a defensive liability at the same time if you put him on the perimeter.
Rudy's very one-dimensional too. He's the best paint defender I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But that's way too much for someone who can't get you a bucket by himself.
Right,
How
exactly.
many
Like,
first rounders?
they just want a couple draft picks. I don't know. They didn't say any first or second, but they want draft picks.
Okay, so this is what I would include: Rudy Gobert and Royce O'Neal, because he's a great, defensive player and shooter at some points.
Mhm.
I would say 2 first rounders and a second for those 2 guys.
Okay.
Depending on who gets them,
Mhm.
I would either take Royce O'Neal or I would even put in another second rounder, for Jordan Clarkson. 2 first rounders and 2 second rounders for Jordan Clarkson and Rudy Gobert, just because depending on who needs him, like say LA, right? Say the Knicks, you're gonna need a shooter along with a big man. So I
Yeah.
feel like one of those 2 can, happen.
I just don't see it happening. If they don't lower their price, Rudy Gobert is not going anywhere, and Donovan Mitchell's not going to be happy. It's that simple.
But he might be happy because of the coaching change, though.
We'll see, because he's not happy right now.
With what Gio said, I think that's a perfect trade for any other team, like trading with Utah. But if Utah is going to trade Rudy, they need to bring something back to help Donovan win as well.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's the main point why their asking price is so high.
that's true.
But at the same time, you either get a superstar and maybe a role player, maybe. maybe
Right.
2.
Yeah.
Who has the second pick right now?
I don't even know. I think the Magic got the first pick. That's all I remember.
I think Parker's going first.
I got
Jed, I know.
I think Bankero goes first.
Bankero, yeah, he could go first. If I know a lot of people have their focus on Jed Holmgren, but I feel like if you're able to trade that second or third pick for Rudy Gobert, I would do it.
I agree. It's Oklahoma City second, Houston is third.
Neither of those teams are trading that.
If I am Oklahoma City, I would do that in a heartbeat.
But I mean Sacramento is fourth, so I mean they could also do it.
But at the same time, Sacramento's got, Darren Fox. They got
Sabonis.
Right. Sabonis is their big man. I don't think they need.
But like also Portland is seventh, so I mean if they want a big man.
But I feel like they're going to try to – I'm sorry for switching subjects, but I think they're going to try to trade for Beal, or they're going to try to trade for he just re-signed with the Bulls. Are they looking to re-sign with the Bulls?
LaVine.
Yeah, Zach LaVine. Sorry. Thank you. So Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal, I feel like they're going to try to trade for. But
yeah, I just don't see Gobert getting traded unless this price drops. Personally,
I saw your face shift or make an expression when I said Oklahoma City, Nick. So I'm curious on your thoughts on if they wanted to get Rudy in Oklahoma.
No.
So, when you said that, I thought that team would be sick defensively.
Right.
With Shea Gilgeous at the point, Lou Dort at the 2.
Right.
And then, those are perimeter defenders who are going to guard the perimeter.
Right.
And then say something does funnel through to the rim, you have Rudy Gobert sitting right there.
Exactly. And you also have, don't forget, Josh Giddey on the bench possibly. Or even starting.
I mean, they also have so many first-round picks. Like, they don't need that second pick.
Exactly. So would you rather get Jet Holmgren, or would you already get an established dominant center who's able to score in the paint, like Rudy Gobert?
Because we've talked about this in the past. Like, Chet's body size is not right for the NBA right now. It's going to be a while until he gets developed.
He's way too scrawny.
Way too skinny. It's just going to be like he's going to get pushed and he's going to get snapped or something.
Well,
like, it's that bad.
He's skinnier than a skinny Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Right. He's going to have to get, like, more bulked than Giannis as well because he's a center.
Right. And he's the same playing style as Giannis. He loves dribbling it up the court. He loves taking the three, and he knows how to pass. So
right. I mean, he has potential, but I feel like it's gonna be a long while until it comes out.
Right.
Whatever team drafts him needs to put him in the weight room immediately.
Right. Exactly. But like you said earlier, LaVine really expected to re-sign with the Bulls. I know you're happy about that, Gio. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think it's the right move for him?
You got it.
Oh, okay. So LaVine where? To the Bulls?
He's expected to resign, yeah.
I like it for Chicago. I will like it more if Chicago can find a wing defender, like a 3-4 spot defender. Besides, if they can't find that this offseason, I don't see Chicago going far.
No.
So I see LaVine wasting his time.
I agree. I mean, I just don't see the Bulls getting to the Eastern Conference Finals if they didn't this year, because this year they were insane. But I mean, injuries did hold them back, so we'll have to see what they can do with Lonzo. So I mean, that's the one reason why I could see why he's going back, because he wants to run it back healthy. But like, I just don't see them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals or the finals.
No. But Gio, what you think about LaVine back to Chirac?
I want to see them running back just one time, if not twice. If Patrick Williams gets better, like they're projecting him to get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that will help them. Lonzo Ball, I can't argue enough how much he means to that team.
It's not even offensively though. It's defensively. You saw the defense that fell off after he got hurt.
Right. It's the defensive productivity. He's going to come back. Offensively, he was shooting at the highest of his career, 40% from three. You also have the passing ability that's never lost, the IQ that's never lost, and that one player. He's like Draymond Green, but better. I feel like obviously not defensively, but the IQ's there, the passing ability's there, but the shooting way better. Zach LaVine, hopefully he's able to increase his game, get better, especially with hopefully a healthy Lonzo Ball. You have Vucevic. Hopefully everyone, gels together. And then, right, Alex
Caruso.
main difference maker on the Chicago Bulls. When he was healthy before his injury, they were cruising in the East with all those health and safety protocols as well. With a healthy Alex Caruso, they're cruising through the East. They're not having any troubles. When he got hurt, they fell down dramatically. And I feel like when everyone's healthy together, that's when we're going to see a great Chicago team.
We also forget that LaVine was battling knee injury all season as well. So
Right,
he was
exactly.
the whole second half of the season. So he wasn't the LaVine that was before the first half.
And sorry, go ahead.
So with that, I think they're scarier, but they're still lacking.
Yeah. I think Max is second round, personally.
I was forgetting one player as well, which we have seen in the past. History shows that if a rookie does amazing, they're going to play bad their sophomore season. And then they bounce back and have a great, third year. And that player is Kobe White. Kobe White can be that difference maker on the bench. I feel like he could possibly be sixth man of the year or most improved, depending on how they play him.
It wasn't even that he was even bad last year. He wasn't even that bad. It was just inconsistency.
Right, but he is going to be more consistent because we did see Jason Tatum. Obviously, he's a different player, but Jason Tatum was very inconsistent in his sophomore year. The second year with Kyrie Irving. So,
I mean, the future is pointing up for them if LaVine does indeed resign. Right. But it also depends on how long he resigns for. Will it be a year? Will it be two? Because I don't know how long he's willing to stay if he doesn't think they're going to win.
Right.
With that, we didn't even mention one player on their team. There's a center who's great offensively, but it comes down to the defense where they're lacking.
Right.
Nikola Vucevic is also a very nice piece to have with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just need more on the defensive end as a big man role. Because perimeter defense is phenomenal with them, with Lonzo, Caruso. Even LaVine's not really a slouch if he's really trying. But they don't have anyone to guard Embiid's, Bam Adebayo's, Giannis, Antetokounmpo. Oh my God.
Antetokounmpo's.
They don't really have anyone to guard those type of players. So that's the only downfall for longevity, like success-wise. But they're going to be a very fun team to watch, to say the least.
I agree. That's a great point, though, about the defense, because I didn't think about that. Like, their center, he's great offensively, don't get me wrong. He averages, 25. He can get you 30 to 40 if needed. But, they just could not stop any big. Like, Giannis tore them apart in the playoffs.
Yep.
I would agree as well. So hopefully his defense gets better. Hopefully they get a backup center or something like that, because Wendell Carter was a great reason why they were heading up in that trajectory, right? And they traded him to the Magic. And now they don't have that center anymore where he plays defense, rebounds the ball like he did. So,
yep. It could be interesting, though.
For sure.
It's going to be exciting for Bulls fans. I think that the ticket sales will be up, all that, but I don't know how far they'll go.
Right. Oh, I was gonna start another segment. Since we're gone, LA fan. Since we were talking about contract extensions, LeBron James is not willing to sign his contract extension until after the draft. Your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's anything to be worried about. I just think he wants to see if we get rid of Russ And also, I don't see him signing it at all this season. I think he's just waiting to see if we win. Because if we don't win, and
He's out.
he signs a contract extension, he's locked in. So I don't think he wants to be tied to us if we're not going
Right.
to win.
He's done that in his career, throughout his career, especially with Cleveland.
Right.
I believe he signed a 2-year contract. 2016, won the
Mhm.
championship, signed another extension for a 1-year deal. 2008, or maybe it was a 2-year extension, I'm not too sure, to run it back 2017.
hmm
And then 2018 was his final year of his contract. Obviously went to LA afterwards. And before that, Nick knows 2014 was his final year in Miami. So
Right. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I just think that he wants to see if we're willing to win, and the draft will show him whether we are or not. It's that simple.
and history has shown if you guys do not win this championship
He's gone.
in his final season,
He's gone.
he will leave you guys.
Right. And that's gonna hurt us. That's why I'm saying this season is ride or die for us.
Right.
The question also is where I don't understand where LeBron thinks he's gonna go.
But like that's the thing.
Back to
LeBron doesn't need to know. Anybody wants LeBron.
But with that, LeBron's not gonna go like money wise. He wants to go somewhere where he's gonna get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's no great teams that are just gonna have money to throw at LeBron like that.
Yeah, but I feel like teams could make money for him. And I feel like they would too.
Anywhere but Golden State.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking about right now. I hope not.
LeBron's talking way too much about Golden State.
Facts. But go ahead, Gio.
I had 2 teams in mind, or 3 teams in mind. Obviously, Cleveland's or actually 4 teams. Well, I'll put 4. Cleveland, I'm thinking, is a team, obviously an option. Miami, obviously an option. Golden State, looking highly possible right now, the way he's talking about them. And then New York, playing in Madison Square Garden every other night, being part of that New York franchise where they have the money to spend, where they're able to get pieces around him that he wants, and he can own that team pretty much. And then the fact is, if he wins a championship in New York and brings the pieces around him that he needs to win a championship in New York, I could consider him the greatest player of all time. Just because no one wins in New York. They always choke or they don't go far enough.
And that would also be his 4th title with 4 different teams.
Exactly. And possibly a 4th different finals MVP as well, with 5 finals MVPs. So
yeah. I mean, I just think that he's waiting to see how the our offseason pans out until he
Right.
ties himself to us.
exactly.
But if he does leave us, Nick does have a good point. Like markability wise, LA is the best place for him. And I think that's what he's thinking as well.
All I know is if he goes to New York, RJ Barrett's gonna get shipped out to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, for real, bro. Because RJ's not going to play.
No.
But I mean, you never know. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But back to the Bulls, I just wanted to say, I can see them being in the 3rd or 4th seed, fully healthy, but it's just coming down to playoff success. I don't see them going past the 2nd round.
I agree heavily on that. I think they would be a very high seed, but not do anything with it.
Yeah. But Gio, you got any hypotheticals you wanted to do before we wrap up?
Hypothetically, right? We had the 2v2 matchup, right?
Mhm.
We had Steph Curry and LeBron James.
Mhm.
We had Elijah, right?
Okay.
The team,
Yeah.
the dream.
And Jordan,
Mhm.
Magic and Bird. And then we'll put those 3 or 4 teams.
What happened to
I'm-
Kobe and Shaq?
Yeah,
Who?
add Kobe and Shaq.
Oh, and Kobe and Shaq, obviously, the other duo.
But I mean, as a biased Lakers fan, I got to go with Kobe and Shaq. But I could also make an argument for Jordan and Hakeem because that duo would just be absolutely insane.
Gio, who would you pick in that 2v2?
It's hard between, for me, Magic and Bird and Jordan and Olajuwon just because of how highly Jordan spoke on Hakeem, right? and how he believes they would have lost that final. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think they would have lost that finals against the Rockets.
What do you gotta say, Saya?
I'm picking Steph and Braun, bro.
For real, for real?
I know, like, size-wise, they will match up well against, like, Shaq and Kareem. But LeBron's no slouch as the big. And what's LeBron's greatest weakness? Or, like, what does LeBron need the most around him?
Shooting.
And who better than the best shooter of all time?
That's fair.
But there is no wrong or right answer with those 4 teams.
I don't think there's a wrong or yeah, there's no wrong answer.
It depends on the playing style and what rules they play by, but I feel like the only team that really I feel like has the best chance of beating LeBron and Steph, because I think LeBron will bully Hakeem, and I think Jordan will bully Steph.
Mhm.
But the
Kobe and
Magic
Shaq.
and Bird matchup, for me at least,
Yeah.
I think the Shaq and Kobe matchup, the only problem they have is they can't get across Hakeem and Jordan. That's the only duo I think that they can. But the Bird and the Magic matchup, I think they're the only ones that can go against the LeBron and Steph and make that a great game. Just
Fair.
because Bird is a great shooter, Steph's a great shooter, Magic's a great passer, LeBron's a great passer. They're pretty much the same position. It's just the fact that Bird has size on Steph and defense, where I think that's why that team would win against Steph and LeBron, is the sizing.
It's fair. I mean, like I said, there's no wrong answer. That's
Right.
like, but Gio, you got a segment you want to do?
Yeah, so real quick today, I wanted to shout out all our hockey fans, right? Game 1 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals was tonight. The Avalanche did win 4-3. So Colorado won. It was a close game in the end of the second period. It was tied 3-3. The Avalanche did take a 2-0 lead first, a 3-1 lead. And then Tampa Bay did come back, tied at the end of the second period. And then obviously Colorado hit a goal, in the third period. They were pretty much, more aggressive than Tampa Bay was tonight, and that's why they won the game.
Sticking on the hockey topic, I've actually been playing a lot of NHL 21 in the video game world. It's a hot game. I haven't got the 22 one yet, but I've heard it's good game. So if you're into hockey and you like hockey, I would highly suggest that, and it's a really fun game. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know too much about hockey, so I'm gonna go off and say the artist of this pod is my boy XXX Tentacion. He dropped an album to go along with his Hulu documentary. I hated the documentary, but got some more songs. Yeah, so
Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.
yep. If you enjoyed, you can drop a like if you want. If you're really feeling it, you can drop a comment. But, like, if you really, really are feeling it, you can Geo.
And make sure you guys subscribe. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.